Hey, morning. Um, my name's Cam. It's short for Camilo. Um, I wanted to I wanted to film this after discovering my faith, and being completely honest. It's something that I've always felt and I had ignored and sort of hidden away from, shunned, if you like. I'm going to tell you a story about my life, and this is something that I think I was meant to do. I was meant to share this story. I was meant to tell people. I was meant to help people. I really believe that. And I know that my wife would want the same, my late wife. I met my beautiful wife, Mariana, a long time ago. We met in 2008. I think it was 2008. It may have been earlier. It may have been 2006. I think it was 2008 because I moved. I was working as a head doorman for a private members club in central London. And I was working nights. I was working 6 days a week. And it was tormenting me, not existing in a social place, not having contact, real contact with people. And I moved into hotels, I moved into hospitality, and I became a concierge for Morgan's Hotel Group. I worked at the Sanderson Hotel in London, and I worked at St Martin's Lane Hotel. And eventually I moved to launch what used to be called the Mondrian and is now called Sea Containers. And I was the head concierge for all three. I progressed through 6 years. I remember walking to work one morning after getting off of the Underground at Leicester Square, and there was a very beautiful woman walking in front of me. And she had seen me because she kept looking back. So I had a lot of confidence in how I recognized that she saw me. And to my surprise, she walked into my building. She worked at the hotel. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. We lost each other because when we walked into that building, immediately there were the changing rooms on the left, and this is all like the back of house areas. And I lost her as I entered, or she entered the building first, and I followed. As I got changed and got into my uniform and made my way down to the lobby, I walked through the events team. It was the way we made our way into the lobby space, back of house area, or through the back of house area, and I saw her sitting at a desk. And my heart was racing. You'll have to forgive me, this is hard. Within a few days after I'd seen her and she'd seen me, and we realised that we worked in the same building, I had some friends and some colleagues who were very much into matchmaking and trying to find new friendships and make new connections. And a wonderful man called Alex approached me. He was working as one of the restaurant hosts, and he approached me, and we'd become, good colleagues and close friends. Well, I mean, not yet, but we did develop a close friendship. And he said to me, I know somebody who likes you. And I was like, okay. I didn't know how to make of that, what to make of that. I was excited because one of the reasons that I decided to move out of the night work and the door work was because I was so alienated from developing a relationship with people, and specifically somebody that I could love and could love me. And he said that I'd been noticed as the handsome guy with the tattoos. I was always quite open with showing my tattoos, and I didn't see anything wrong with that. I encourage people to show themselves for who they are, and don't be afraid of that. So eventually I asked, and he said, have you noticed the girl in the events team? And I said, yes, I have. And so that was that, and that was left as that. And a few days later, Mariana approached me. Her name was Mariana. And she approached me, and it was so confusing to me because I was busy. I was sitting in the back of the house, back of house area for the front desk team, and she came and asked me if I wanted to go for a smoke. And I was just like, I'm a bit busy, but do you need a cigarette? Her English was still like a little bit broken. She was from Brazil. She was born in Brazil, but she also grew up in Portugal, as well as other places. Actually, she was quite well traveled. And I misunderstood. I didn't get that she was inviting me out. I was so busy I didn't see it. And eventually, I just sort of dismissed her and said, "Oh, you can have one of my cigarettes." And she gave me a note, and it had her phone number on it. And I didn't know what to do with that. I was blown away. I was afraid, I think, initially, of not being good enough for her, if I'm completely honest. I'm a sinner, like all of us. And back in those days, I wasn't doing great. I was using recreational drugs, and as well as she, we both smoked weed. And I never reached out to her initially. I don't know. Well, I do know why. I was afraid. I was scared. Anyway, we went to a work function. One of our colleagues won an award. I think it was Alex, actually, thinking about it. He won an award and was recognised for his good service, and we all went out for drinks in Soho. And she came, and well, in fact, she asked me, "Are you going?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, great, I'm coming, and I'll bring my friend." And her friend was incidentally also called Mariana. And so this night we sat and we talked for hours. We ignored everybody else. We just sat together and talked, and I rolled a joint, and we smoked a joint together, and continued talking. And eventually it got late in the night, and she said she had to leave, and I wanted to walk her and say goodbye. And we walked to Leicester Square Tube Station, and she didn't want to go. She got down to the... God, it's so hard. She got down to the ticket stalls where you touch in and touch out. And she turned and stopped, and she looked at me and she said, "I don't want to go." And she was in tears. And I called her back, and I sat her down. We walked up the stairs and got back out onto the street. And she confessed that she was in a relationship with a guy. and it hadn't been going well. They were living together and they were really distant, and she'd felt estranged from him for a long time. And I knew how I felt about her. I was very much attracted to her beauty and her soul. She was such a beautiful person. She was so full of love and kindness. Anyway, we walked to the embankment, and we found ourselves at Cleopatra's Needle, just on the River Thames, and we sat, and again we talked for hours more. It was now like 3 or 4 in the morning, and she kept saying how intense she felt, and I felt the same way about me. She felt overwhelming attraction and a magnetism, and again I felt exactly the same way. And we shared a kiss. That was the first time I kissed her. But I said that it was really important that she be honest with her partner, and I couldn't commit to being and taking this further, being in a relationship with her, or taking this further and doing something behind his back. And she felt exactly the same way, and I think that's why she was so upset. Well, I know that's why she was so upset. She was so tormented between having the feelings that she had for me and having the feelings that she had for her current partner. And so we eventually separated, and she went home, and I sent her a long message on my way home, thanking her and encouraging her to be honest with him. And I stressed that I didn't want her to do anything that she didn't want to do, and that I didn't want to put any pressure on her to be with me. I didn't want her to leave this guy if she didn't want to. But I hoped that she would feel strongly enough that she would do the right thing by him, and subsequently I would get the chance to be with her. And well, I guess you can realize that, yeah, she did eventually. She did come clean to him. She was honest with him, and they separated. And she moved out, and she moved into a friend's room. There was like 3 of them sleeping on a bed. It was nuts, in this tiny little room in Chelsea. I helped her move her stuff from their apartment, her ex-partner's apartment, into her friend's place, and we began spending time together. Yeah, and I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I am going to stop, and I will continue the story. Watch this space.